Ado with the song Zero and the music video. We're checking them out today because this just came out now. I'm going to say, first of all, whenever I do these Ado reactions, I've noticed that I'm really bad at staying in line with the chronology of Ado's releases. One thing that we all know is that she's obviously a legend. We all know the famous songs, we know the famous singles, we know just how much she has had an impact upon the industry and how much I think her style has been kind of almost influential in a lot of upcoming singers as well. But the one thing that I always miss is the order that her songs come out. Or sometimes she'll release a song and then someone will go, hey, that was actually a cover, Howard. So I thought when this came out the other day, I thought I'm going to check, is this really a new song? And what I found out is that this song, Zero, is actually the last track. See it down here. It is the last track on the 2024 album, Zanmu, which I haven't actually given a proper listen through to yet. So if you guys want, I might even go back and do a track-by-track listen to this album. I know I've heard a couple of the songs from this, but I wouldn't mind going through and doing, well, I think I've heard a couple of songs. Wouldn't mind doing a track-by-track listen to this if you guys are interested. For now, though, certainly I'll be, oh yeah, I did Mirror and, but anyway, look. I'm going to do the song Zero now. This is not a song I've heard before. It's just got a music video, though. This music video has just come out now. This is also really interesting, actually, because we have so many times these conversations about how the number of artists who release a music video for a song before it's come out on the album. So effectively, it's like having a single release before the album. But it seems to be so traditional these days that you'll get like half the album will come out as music videos before an album does. And a lot of people feel it kills a bit of the energy of the album. Personally, I feel like we're kind of in a place now where we kind of have to rethink how we look at albums in general. We get a lot of short albums and mini albums, and this is a whole different discussion. But in a way, the fact that Ado releases music videos for songs like a year after the album came out, I'm not against that. But I do have to keep track of it because it's very different from the norm. Anyway, shall we? So this song's called Zero. No idea what to make of it. I do know, again, this comes off of the album that has songs like Mirror on it. So I'm expecting something kind of cool, something interesting. But let's just hope it's going to be more of Ado's fantastic voice, but used in a way that, yeah, a song that certainly plays towards her strengths, I'm hoping. Let's go. Oh, yeah, that comes in hard. Okay. Very dark beat. It's just kind of bedding in at first. Oh, I'm liking that fast delivery. Oh, the build-up's great. You know what it is? Let's have the payout. That's an interesting drop. Okay, this is going in an interesting, this is very sort of dark, low-key, but very punchy. Loving the constant intensity. Oh, we're going full dubstep now, are we? It's just constantly, relentlessly on edge. I like that turn. Cool, we like that. Chord changes, speeding up. Yeah, this is... And that kind of slightly gentle style of singing she's doing there. She's not going all out. Oh god. Okay, so I knew I was going to get adverts. No, Google. Anyway. Go try desperately to escape the adverts. Let's go down to the credits instead. So basically, I got to say straight off the bat, that was... Oh, sorry. Now I'm getting... Yeah, it's playing adverts out loud in my headphones, so I'm just going to switch those off. Right, okay. I want to talk about the song, goddammit. Right, so, honestly, this was actually kind of interesting. When I saw that this was the last song on the album, my initial thought straight away was kind of like, okay, so, you know, from a singer who does like these big, grand songs, it's probably going to be like a sort of a big, grand, dramatic ending. And this was a dramatic song, but in a much more kind of high-speed, intense way. This is a real adrenaline-pumping song to put at the end of an album. And I respect that. I mean, it's kind of almost a stereotype that albums usually end with a big, grand finale. Nothing wrong with that, but there's also nothing wrong with doing the alternative, which is leaving people wanting more by sort of going out on this kind of high-paced final note. And yeah, I'm always going to sort of address where a song sits in the album as well as its quality as a standalone item, because that can really add something to a song. So for me, I really like this as a choice to end the album. I'm going to have to listen to the whole album, though, to get a bit of better context for how everything flows. But that kind of was a nice little turn that I didn't expect. But talking about how this song actually comes together, what I really, really enjoyed about this was that it was mostly kind of this very minimalist feeling song, but there was actually a lot of things going on in there. An interesting comparison, because when we got that first chorus, the first chorus was more like a drop, you know, like an EDM style drop, everything building up. You had those fast running vocals, kind of like a sort of a angsty rap, and it built up and it built up and built up, and then just as we're thinking, oh, here comes the chorus, we got that sort of fireball, and it was like a drop. Now, interestingly enough, I recently did a reaction to a song that you could say was similar, which was the Ado song with Something Jones, the producer. It was kind of like it was like tied in with like the fidget spinner or something, Beyblade, something like that. And that song, I got to be honest, was probably one of my least favorite Ado songs, because I felt like it did a similar thing where it had to build up to a drop instead of a chorus, but the drop there just felt kind of flat. It's like, build up, drop, and then just didn't really feel anything. This had a build up and then a drop, but this song kind of, everything was totally different here in that there was this feeling that there was this constant sort of angstiness. There was this atmosphere. So when we kind of went back into that drop, it almost felt like it kind of played towards the sort of angsty, tense feeling of the song. So you're expecting something to happen, but it doesn't. But still, as we go to that breakdown, it's like we still get like a very sort of active, very kind of on edge feeling. You know, that everything hasn't gone sort of big and grand like you were expecting, but in going quiet, in going to that drop, we've still got like the sharp, loud sort of brass, the trumpet, so the bum. That's still coming through, and you've still got this like really sort of tense feeling with the beats quite active. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. So it breaks down, which is unexpected, but it still manages to maintain this sort of tension where now you're feeling kind of on edge. You were just built up to this big chorus, but instead you've got this very sort of tense breakdown. So it felt to me much more like this is an example of how to do that right. And so this really felt like a much more effective example of that breakdown. But what was interesting is it then sort of continues this really sort of tense sort of feeling. Everything's very sharp, and you can tell from Ado's voice, she's never particularly loud in this song, but there's that kind of tense. You can tell a really good vocalist, because so many people talk about, the great vocalist, they have the big, powerful voice. But a really great vocalist is when they're not being big and powerful, but you can feel how they're sort of like using, how they're apportioning their vocal skills. And here, even though she's doing the quieter things, you can really feel the tension. You can feel that sort of building energy in her voice. So I like how that kept going. And then when we got towards the end of the song, then suddenly this underlying chord pattern came in. And everything started to build up, and you could feel the chord pattern rising underneath. And suddenly it just built a little bit more of a melodic crescendo into the song. I really like the direction this went in, so I'm just I'm just gonna reload the song now. Once you get the adverts come up on the screen, you have to like reload the whole bloody thing. Okay, let's go back around. So like at the beginning, it's very sort of, you listen to it, it's very kind of low key, but it also has this tension coming through. You listen to the percussion there, the drums, there's a lot of very active sounds, a lot of changeable sounds as well, like little things coming in and going out. You know, the drum sounds, it's not just sort of kick, snare, it's like weird little distorted sounds coming in, coming out. The bass is pretty much just holding like, just a couple of notes, but they're very sort of distorted, slightly on edge. Actually, a little bit more if we go back here. It's kind of like, it's very low key, but there's a lot of slightly off, and you got that little sound up there as well. Yeah, it's just a lot of things that are designed for this to kind of give the sound a bit of an unpredictable vibe. You know, it feels a little bit on edge, it feels a little bit unpredictable, and that sort of maintains as it builds up as we work towards the drop. You've got those little backing sounds, hey, in the background. You've got all these little sounds, but it doesn't feel settled. You know, at no point is it just sort of going to, oh, kick, snare, here's the beat. It's like there's always this feeling like the sounds are just on edge. You can follow that there's a rhythm, but it's not settled in totally. And then we get this, and here again, you know, you've got some slightly edgy sounds, but it's still just kind of like a low-key kind of breakdown. Little more than the drums, a couple of weird sounds, that bass line. But then when we get towards the end, you've got this rising chord pattern's been introduced. I think a little bit before again. It's hard on first reaction to remember the timing. You feel how the bass is like much longer notes than it's holding. You know, it's providing this much more solid, reliable chord pattern and tune and everything, feeling a bit more melodic and normal. I like that because nothing hugely about the timbre of the song has shifted at this point, but what instead it's giving a bass, it's giving a reliable center to the song. So now what was before this kind of chaotic, tense rhythmic thing has now got more of a solid musical melody and chord structure thing underneath that's giving it a more obvious feeling. You can better interpret the feeling it's trying to deliver now. It's not just this sort of tense set of sounds like rhythmically pulsing. I like that little chord there. Here it goes a little bit higher. So nicely done, nicely constructed, and then obviously goes back down to that big beat for the ending. I just thought this was a really good example of how to do something which is EDM focused, but infuse it both with a sense of tension and real emotion, and at the same time as all of that, really give it a sort of a kind of a simple directness that works, and a musicality where the arrangement plays out in a way that you can follow it and you can really kind of enjoy what's happening. So anyway, yeah, I felt this was an arrangement with a proper beginning, middle, and end, a sense of development, but also very much played towards the EDM qualities that Ado does occasionally experiment with. This made good use of that for, like I say, emotion, tension, sense of atmosphere. Yeah, and a musical payoff as well. Anyway, let me know what you think, as always, in the comments. I know I'm late to the party. If you want me to check out the whole album, then do let me know, and I'll go back and do a track by track. I might well do that just out of interest. I really do need to go beyond the singles and the occasional random track with Ado and really get a bit more into her recent stuff in a bit more detail. But let me know what you think, and until I do, hopefully speak to you very soon in the comments, in the next video, in the Discord community that's been running for years. Always good to see new people there. Until I hopefully see you very soon in one of those places. For now, ciao, ciao.